Welcome to Love and Lightning. First comes love and then comes lightning. I'm your host, Nicole Pelham. Welcome to a soul-charged journey where heart meets power and is transformed in strikes of lightning. All waters lead to the same place, love, and in an ever-expanding universe, stretching and unfolding, sending out waves of love and light, you are not a small part. You are an outsized part of the universe's plan. Here on Love and Lightning, we explore the intersection of spirituality, science, politics, religion, and the one thing we're all searching for, love and acceptance. The kind that reminds us that the universe made us perfectly and that you are in this moment exactly where you're meant to be. Get ready to be inspired with hope for the future, strengthen your path, and bolts of lightning to awaken your soul. Welcome to Love and Lightning. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome, fellow humans. Welcome, aliens, if you're listening. I'm Nicole, and you're listening to Love and Lightning on Transformation Talk Radio or loveandlightning.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Stay tuned for the next hour on Love and Lightning, where we are going to be talking about love in action. The fact that, something one of my biggest things is we are here in the 3D world. You're not a star. You're not a dog. The dogs I can do a lot of great things. I just watched some dogs that were helping out in protests across the world. But you came here as a 3D human where you can affect a lot of change, not just in the global meditation way, but in the actual physical way. Remembering that the news and the internet makes the world seem really close. It makes the problems seem like they're directly our problems. And though they are in that way that a butterfly flaps its wings and causes a hurricane in another country, we are affecting people, but the biggest thing we can affect is what's around us right now, our work, our school, our family, nature, and that's where we can affect the most change. And that's what we'll be talking about today. I'll get sidetracked, of course, and then bring it all back to it. But that's one of the things we're going to be talking about. I wanted to ask you guys to go ahead and call in today as we were talking about love. If you have questions or things you wanted to think about, our last guest talked about staying curious. And one of the things I'm going to ask you guys, like always, is to remember that I'm just a woman on the internet. You should definitely check everything I talk about. I am an expert in childcare, women's tackle football, running back, and a few other subjects. But this, I'm just imparting knowledge that the universe has given me through TikToks and Disney and being raised in a cult. So check everything. But as my last guest mentioned, one of the important things is to remember is to stay curious, to make sure that you're always being curious and you're always checking out new things, especially if people are telling you not to. That's a good sign to look around. Before we get all to that, hey, Nat, how are you?
Hello, Nicole. I'm doing great today. I'm excited to be here. It's definitely hot here in Seattle, but excited to be here.
It is hot. This is the first time I've ever felt this room that I'm in be hot. There's lots of trees around it, and it's a little greenhouse room, but it's not normally hot. But today I was like, ooh, shorts would have been nice. Hey, before we get all into love, let's talk about some people who put love into action. But before that, Nat, can you give the listeners the phone number so they can call and text in today?
Yes, I can. It's also on the screen. That number is 1-800-930-2819. That is 1-800-930-2819. So call in, and we'd love to put you on the show today. And you can also chat, and I will get the questions to Nicole.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. It's the first time we've tried this. So guests were last time the first time, and this is the first time we tried call and text in. So be my first caller or text in. Hey, with Nat, can you play the Helper of the Week video?
While no one was watching, Earth started to breathe again. Ocean dead zones are shrinking, some by over 40%. Thanks to improved farming practices and marine protections. Air quality in major cities like Paris and Seoul has reached its cleanest levels in over a decade. And renewable energy? It now supplies more global electricity than coal, for the first time ever. Even coral reefs, once written off, are showing signs of regrowth in parts of the Pacific. Follow @Earthly Goodness for daily stories of hope and progress. And remember, 1/3 of everything we make goes to a charity you help choose. Subscribe now.
So that was Earthly Goodness. That's a TikTok group. I'm sure, again, most of us are on everything. Once we get started, you have to be on so many different things. So check them out. Sounds like a great company. I did not look into them further than just this wonderful video about nature. Hey, Nat, do you have any awesome or inspiring things you heard about this week?
Well, I just heard from you when we were talking about before the show about it being so hot here that one of the good things about this is that the growing season has changed. So now we can grow more fruit for longer, which is great. Big fruit eater here, so I love that.
Oh yeah, my sister is planting passion fruit in a raised bed. We just watched that. That is a raised bed plants. Please, like we talked about, native things are important. You can of course have banana trees and lemon trees and things like that, but you really have to make sure that it's not going to get loose. I've seen horror stories of plants that are not supposed to be here just taking over wild, tropical plants. So this one is definitely a plant that will take over areas from what we saw. So just making sure you check that. But yeah, we get a whole new growing season, which I think will be so fun. Let's see. Oh man, oh man, I have so many things to get to. One of the things I talked about you guys about was that I manifested more animals in this area, and I told you that about a month or so later, I saw my first orcas here, and everyone was talking about how great that was and how rare it is that they come here. Then we had some ospreys show up. I did that speech with the neighborhood about. So my manifestation was that, and then my manifestation action was I talked to my neighbors and I went to my Redondo committee and talked to them about rat poison. I kid you not, guys. I have seen an owl 4 times. I've never seen one before in my life. I just saw it again last night, and it was just like an instant like gratification of, yep, here's your manifestation, and you get that. Right after that, I saw my first baby seal on the beach, and we had to call. It was missing an eye, so we had to help with rescue and do all that sort of stuff. But it was really fantastic. It was just two instant things I've never got to see before. And I was like, universe, I love you so much. The universe knows how much I love nature. It just knows that, like, if I see a bug, I'm like, oh, a bug, much less an eagle. Or on my road trip, we saw elk, wild boar, quail, all these like running across the road type creatures, eagles coming down and grabbing things as we are driving by. It was just really fantastic. So to find out that was really cool. So when I was talking to my rescue lady, her name is Ariel over here, and she runs the center. And she is like a mermaid. Like it was like I was like, wait, her name's that? I will not forget her name. But she works as a scientist over here, and she takes care of the marine strandings that we have in this area. And so I talked to her about the seal, and we're kind of chatting. And she goes, actually, it has been a really big uptick in our animals in this area. And we're just talking about how we're going to prepare the area for these elephant seals. So I'm so excited to have a Neil the seal here. It's just going to be so exciting to have more animals here. So she was telling me that is actually happening. There are more animals in the area, and they are trying to excuse me, they're trying to figure out how they can make sure that all of the neighborhood is prepared, especially for those 5,000-pound elephant seals, because I think that's going to be a shock for anybody who has not seen Neil the seal. Those are what we are expecting to have in this area and what they already have across the water. So I'm so excited for that. I'm going to be talking just a little bit more when we come back about just TV shows. I just watch K-pop Demon Hunter and how that just feels like such an awakening movie. But we're actually only got 1 minute left till break. So we'll be talking about K-pop Demon Hunter. If you haven't seen that, it's fantastic. Moana, Matrix, how those are all awakening. And man, K-pop Demon Hunter was really talking about how the inner soul is affecting the outer world. With that, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with Love and Lighting on Transformation Talk Radio Network. Stay tuned, and remember to call in or text in. Talk to you soon. Nat has put the number right below there on the screen for you guys. If you guys want to call in or text today, thank you so much for making that so easy for us instead of us having to repeat the number over and over again. Can you also say it for people who are on the radio and can't see it?
Yes, that number again is 1-800-930-2819.
Thank you so much. With that, can we go ahead and dive right into this wonderful YouTube?
What would happen if I put some negative labels on this rice container while I put positive labels on another rice container? Dr. Emoto ran an experiment in which he put labels on a water container and observed them under a microscope. In short, positive words result in pretty water crystal, while negative words result in ugly water crystal. The conclusion drew is that our words and intention will actually affect particles, yet this experiment has been widely criticized by the scientific community. An alternative of this experiment is to label the container with cooked rice. And the outcome was the rice with positive words didn't mold as much, while the rice with negative words became really moldy. Now, this is not a scientific experiment, but what do you think about it? Should we run another time to make sure it is replicable, or you are a fan and believer of Dr. Emoto's work? Meanwhile, I'm gonna talk to my pizza for it to last longer.
Oh man, I love that last part because I honestly try really hard to do that. Of course, people used to pray over their food, and there's a lot of science coming out about our waves going into food and affecting it. I think I talked about the experiment about the rats where all the rats are being fed really poisonous foods, but one group of rats was not having as bad a reaction, and they kept trying to figure out why. And so they put a camera in, and before the researcher fed them the poison food, he would pet them and tell them what great rats they are. You're so pretty. And then when they ate the food, they were happy. And for some reason, they were not getting as sick. I know a lot of people talk about that, when they won't have food from their spouses if the food is not happy, if it's not cooked by happiness, just because they think that that affects the waves of that. And I would tend to agree. We're really getting into the vibration and science of the universe and how that affects us. And knowing that the body, is between 55 to 78% water, depending on what age you are. How are those negative words affecting you? And what's funny is the younger you are, the more your body has water in it. So the 78%, that's babies. So thinking about how our negative words are really affecting babies, how they're affecting the babies both in the womb and how they're affecting the babies once they come out of the womb. And that's something that I do talk to parents about, being calm while they're pregnant, making sure that they're not angry or screaming or watching things because they'll make the baby come out angry and screaming. And time and time again, that taps and does happen. Whereas we have talked to families that do that, where they try to be calm, try to make sure they don't argue while they're pregnant, and the baby comes out very calm. And their experience is different because they are experiencing a part of the world before they come out. So depending on the age of the child, age of the infant fetus as it's going through its stages, depending on how much it's bringing into the world. But that's the thing, is that you're younger you are, the more water you have in you. Nat, can you go ahead and play that other video we have on the experiment that IKEA did?
Nobody likes you. No one notices when you're in the room.
You're a mistake.
You're useless. You're not even green.
You look rotten. Are you really even alive?
I like you the way you are. Seeing you blossom makes me happy.
You're making a difference in the world.
You are beautiful.
As the weeks passed, I started noticing that the one that was being bullied started kind of to droop.
While the plant that was being complimented, it was flourishing and beautiful.
If it affects a plant, it can definitely affect other people.
And I love how a company is doing that. That's one of the things that I am pointing out more and more, is that the Great Awakening seems to be happening everywhere. As I've grown up, even when I was not into spiritualism, I did notice there seemed to be an uptick in spiritualism. I had went to science, and like I said, that brought me back to spiritualism. So I think that those things are very intertwined, and it's always cool when a company is doing something that's kind of showing how we would do better in society if we treated each other well. So that's one of the things that they talked about with the Great Awakening. And one of the things I think I noticed with the Great Awakening and with like K-pop Demon Hunter, which it just seems like another story that's talking about the awakening and how we need to work on our inner self, and our inner self reflects the outer world. One of the cool things that I did when looking at this, doing research for this particular show, was looked at what we are still talking about, where our brains are processing bits, and what bits our brains are processing. Our brains are processing 10 bits. They just did studies that came out in 2025, compared to the 1 billion bits of sensory information that our body is taking in. And then how our brain is deciding which of those to concentrate on and which of those to dismiss is a personal thing. It's something that has to do with our qubits. There are things that are going to grab our attention more. Pain is one of the things that grabs our attention more than other things. But that is what it is, that we are getting a ton of sensory information and then deciding what we're going to look at. And that's why I talk about the humans. It's great if we fall in love with life. That if you fall in love with life, then those 10 qubits are probably really wonderful. Like 8, 9, 7 of them are really fantastic. And your life is always on that like more happy trajectory, because you are getting to choose what things you're bringing into your life. But how do you do that? There's so much stuff that they were being bombarded with, but it is like I talk about with my homework at the end of the show, about you picking and choosing what things you want to bring into your life, making sure that you're not bringing in things that are going to cause you distress. One of the things that I had learned in my cult upbringing was, if a bird lands on your head, you don't have to let it build a nest there. So they were talking about, if a bad thought came to your head, you could shoo it away. You didn't have to, let it be there. And you just said shoo it away, and you're not like, oh, bad thought, bad thought. You're just like, oh, hey, like, that's not necessary. Like, oh, or that's probably not a thought that I want to have again. So let's not think about that. Like, you're supposed to be watching them non-judgmentally. And so that was one of the things that I did grow up with the cult, was thinking, okay, well, these thoughts aren't necessarily mine. And even if they are, I can just let them pass. I can just release them. So that was really wonderful for me to learn, because it helps you to handle all of the bombardments that are coming out in the world, not just from the entertainment that we have, but from our friends and family, which, everybody means well, but everybody is on their own course and on their own path. So they're going to throw out interference with you unless you are in that really wonderful vibration. Man, one of those times I'm going to do that video. I've got to remember to do that video where they have the tuning fork, and they hit the tuning fork, and it makes the ball move only when the tuning forks are in tune. So, there's going to be lots of people in your life, and it's going to cause a lot of interference, and it's supposed to, because we're learning things in the life, but that you want to get those to match up with each other. You're trying to find people who you do match up with, so that, you can have more of an influence on the world. We talked a little bit about this, the qubits, in the last two episodes ago, and how the qubits all align to show paths. And the more people who are focused on a certain path, the more the qubits will light up and go towards that path. We saw that, during the summer. There was, to me, just a ton of apathy and just wellism about something that to me was not inevitable, that we could have still kept working towards. But if everybody is just feeling apathy and it's just inevitable that it's going to happen, then it's going to happen, because all of the qubits are now pointing towards that way. That path is broad. Everybody's going that way. So just remembering that we want to, especially be as light workers, anchor in what we want when we go to events, whether they're family events, and maybe you need to take a break and come back. But then when you're there, you're trying to anchor in the love and not be, the one that's, causing the war or the friction, while at the same time, when things are inappropriate, making sure they're inappropriate, because you are causing the ripples in the wave. So, it's just a balancing act. That's my biggest thing in life. Is it's actually on my tattoo on my arm, is balance is one of the keys to life, is not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you got to clean the water. You got to drain the swamp, but you can't throw the baby out with it. The baby, it was what you were trying to protect in the first place. So keeping those things in mind, and what we're going to need as we go forward in the world. One of the things that I am also talking about when I talk about my podcast is the processing that we're going to need. That's one of the things with the them looking at the 10 qubits in the brain as they're trying to figure out how we're going to interface with AI and other things going forward. And I really think that those are the kids that are being born now with the faster processing centers. They do seem like they're faster processors. ADHD kids, there's some, I have ADHD, so, I might be tooting my own horn, but I do think that it is a faster processing center just based on a need for a faster processing. And, that doesn't work well when we're in the world that wants us to stay. But when I am on, doing stuff, people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you cleared this whole room like that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, well you did." But it is a superpower. I know also a lot of ADHD people don't like that because they get upset about just how hard it is. And I just want to remind you, if you've watched any superhero movie or read any comic books, or it is hard, Superman. It's hard, Peter Parker. It's hard, for most superheroes, it's hard. There's a few who have some like golden things going for them, but for most superheroes, it's hard to like balance all of the things and to keep focused and to do what you're supposed to. And it's also hard just to develop your powers. Like I always think about how many doors Superman had to break. And my sister said there's a comic book about this that like has a Superboy who's like opening doors and breaking them in school. He has a best friend who's always trying to like cover for him because he just breaks things all the time because he hasn't learned how to control his strength. So how many cups do you think Superman broke? How many doors do you think Superman broke? How many times do you think he maybe hurt his parents using his strength? Like those are just things that would happen as you're learning and growing to control your power. So if you're having any of those, whether it's ADHD or anything else that seems unusual to you, that maybe people think is weird, it might just be a superpower. It's probably a superpower. I think it's a superpower. That's what I tell people to go with is to work on the strengths of it, find the silver linings in it, and then to go forward from that. That was, the whole thing with K-pop, K-pop Demon Hunter, which was literally really fantastic. Like I don't want people to like go like, oh, it's gonna be some like it's not like some Greek epic or anything. It's just a really great show to watch. But the understanding that covering up yourself, covering up your shame, covering up your flaws is not an effective way to handle them. That it's instead to look at them, to embrace them, and see what you need to fix about them, and see what is perfect about them. Because you might, as you look at them, realize, wow, you know what? That actually is really great, and I can use that in so many ways that'll make me different and special and unique in the world. So just remembering those things is super important. Excuse me, man. I'm gonna need this break. Speaking of the videos that we watched, we talked about the way that we're speaking. And one of the things I did grow up to with the Bible was the curse words. There's a Bible verse that talks about rotten food out of the mouth, and that was something they talked about. And they related that just to curse words, like the F word and the A word, and bad words. But for me, it's much more about the meaning of the heart that comes out of those words, right? Though something could be a fruit if it's sent out that way, or it could be rotten if it's sent out late. So just thinking about how we're sending out our energy when we're doing those things. And then also making sure, and this was important, K-pop Demon Hunter too, that you're not in the ebb and flow of other people, that you really have a center and a core belief that keeps you steady so that you're not at the flow and change of, all of these different things. Because as you can see, things are changing very rapidly, and you want to be centered. You want to be that anchor of love and light that holds things together, and not the ship that's crashing with all the other ships. That won't make anything better. With that, we're going to go ahead. Oh, I think actually I have a little bit more time. No, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break real quick. This is Love and Lighting on Transformation Talk Radio. We'll be right back. We're back on Love and Lightning. I'm Nicole on Transformation Talk Radio, or you can get this wherever you get your podcasts. So this episode is about love and love in action, and why this episode now, I felt like it was a good episode for 4, just so people understood like why I came forward at this time. And so I could explain it to myself. Honestly, like I keep saying, I'm the only one here and you're the only one here. So, I'm honestly just talking to the universe. But one of the things I had noticed was, especially right now, is there's a lot of not love and light. we need more than love and light. That's not enough. That's not enough. And I completely agree. That's why I keep saying that we came here in the 3D for action. So remember that you want to put forth action wherever you currently are, whether that is your meditation, which is great and wonderful. And we know now that those vibrations are going forth to the universe and helping out, but also to make sure that you're doing all that you can do right where you are. One of the things that happens with love is love becomes passion, and passion can't sit idly. Passion has to go forward. You can see that on anybody who's passionate about anything. So Greta Thunberg, David Attenborough, Steve Irwin, people are, they love something, they put that into action. They cannot sit still. So remembering that you just need to find the thing that you love. So finding that love of life, really working on, looking at the world and trying to find the silver linings in things, which does take a lot of work. But remembering that that is how you're going to be able to move yourself forward and find that love and passion in the world that's going to help you to move on these steps in your journey. Of course, there's also AI coming, which is another reason why I really wanted to come forward. I've talked a little bit about AI. We talked about it in the cult episode, not having fear with AI, remembering that AI is going to be a tool of humans, that humans are not ones and zeros of AI or computers, that humans are humans, that we're like something that is beyond that is put into this physical ones and zero body. And we speak ones and zeros so that we can communicate in this world, but that is not what we actually are. And so we're always translating through that. But the essence of what we are inside is like our spirit and the love and the light. So remember that AI can't surpass that. The AI is going to be a wonderful tool for us. And the most important things with AI is that we handle, the environmental footprint. That's my biggest worry for AI right now. There are plenty of companies that are working really hard with AI as they're going to work on their environmental footprint. And for all that we can do is we could just message the companies, talk to them, make sure that we find out which companies are doing a good job. Like I said, I use Ecoside because they plant trees for all of my like easy searches. It's not a great search engine for a lot of like detailed stuff. I try to limit Google, but Google also is a company that is constantly trying to upgrade its server so it uses less and less energy. So it's less and less money, I'm sure, but also so it's better for the environment. Whereas other companies are poisoning Wichita, Kansas. You should look up which companies those are and then decide, how much you should give to those companies. But that's the biggest thing. But we are going to use AI. Your computers and phones are using it automatically. So when I was talking to someone who does enjoy AI stuff, they enjoy a lot of AI videos, they enjoy a lot of AI things, just silly things that people would probably consider AI slop. But that's, the reason why it's out there is because people are looking at it. So she really enjoys it. And, I was just mentioning that it's not something to feel bad about. It's just, are you doing all the other things in your life? Like, they have an electric car, so they're doing more than I'm doing. But those are the type of things you want to do. Like, are you doing recycling? Like, are you, planting native? Are you doing the things that you can do to offset those things? Because we are actually in the 3D world and you have to buy fruit that, maybe has pesticides on it sometimes. Like, you have to operate in the 3D world, but to try to remember that you're trying to offset that as much as possible to bring yourself and the world into light, the man in the mirror theory, which, is pretty famous. So with that, also, the other reason I really wanted to get into it was censorship. I'm on TikTok a little bit, but when I seem to want to talk about really good, important issues, it just doesn't seem to get out very well. I've heard TikTok is very bad about censorship. I've heard, most of the big platforms they don't want stuff out there that they're not supposed to, they don't want to have or mess up their audience for a variety of reasons, usually money. But that was a reason why I also started the podcast, was because I was like, guys, you can't do censorship and then think you can fix the problems in the world by not saying them. Fear of the thing creates fear. Oh man, I knew I should have watched the Hermione quote so I could actually get it. Harry Potter people, you know what I'm talking about. Say the word Voldemort. So people aren't saying Nazi. People don't say sexual abuse. People don't say suicide because they'll get doxxed or their thing won't get there. And that to me that's not acceptable. We have certain words that were curse words that we weren't supposed to say. And after that, if you don't like something, you turn it off. Not the platform continues to be like, oh, we're going to take this off. I was actually watching them one of my tarot card readers and someone just didn't like something she said. She had to fight real quick on her phone to not be doxxed, to not have her live taken off. And that just is silliness. If you don't like something, swipe left. It's not your business to do that. So, unless they're doing something crazy, like, hurting animals, that there's the balance, right? Is to find the balance in what you're doing. So the censorship just seemed to be too much. And the censorship also is about, people's money. There's a lot of influencers and stuff that'll tell you they won't say it because, oh, I'll be demonetized. And I was like, well, that's the same thing that all the other corporations are doing when they don't want to lose money, right? Oh, well, we bowed because we were going to lose money. We bowed because we were going to lose money. And if you do that for your little bit of money that you get, then everybody does that whenever they need to. They go, well, it's all about the money. And that, of course, is the excuse for why we are where we are right now with the economy, the economy, the economy. I think that was a big excuse, but it is important to note that most people care a lot about their money. And that was something I did want to just remind people is money does grow on trees. It's made out of mainly cotton. I know, I know we're still fighting over cotton. Every time I think about it, it just makes me laugh and makes me just go, wow, I cannot believe this is a reality. Like this is the real, we made this. And then every day continue to back it up with our like own thought process and going through the motions. Like we made this. But South Park did a great job talking about that, everybody trying to get their nut, everybody's so worried about getting their money is making the world not good. And I know it's hard to be the first one that doesn't worry about your money, but you gotta be. You gotta be the first one that like has someone do something bad and I literally talk to them on the phone and go, oh man, well, you know what? I'm actually watching a dolphin jump right now, so I'm gonna pay you your money, and I hope that your company's not cheating because it's gonna be really bad karma on you. And if you're doing lots of cheating, it'll eventually get caught. So here's your money, and best of luck because I don't need to mess with that. Like, let them have their karma. And then suddenly at the double the amount will appear somehow. Like the universe is like, oh, good job. Like we don't care. So I'm telling you, once you start doing that, once you start just being more relaxed about it, understanding that it's going to flow and come, that it will flow and come. It literally is man-made. They made it up. It's really is fake. It's not even like gold where it has like actually you can hold it like it's paper. It's cotton like jean. It's anyway. So that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk about that was that was one of the things that really people need to realize is that their censorship on themselves is already leading to that. That self censorship is started with us, much like us having record Amazon Prime days while everybody's complaining about his wedding. Like, do you care or did you just want to complain? So, the waking up of us and making sure that we are, putting our actions and our money where our mouth is and how that will change things in the world, especially in this country that literally for the last I don't even know, 10 years, when I listen to NPR, all they say is, well, the American people are continuing to make the economy go. So it really is just us just paying money and just continue to do it. So take control of it and make sure that we get the future that we want going forward so that we aren't backsliding into something that will not be happiness for anybody. Like they talk about happy wife, happy home. So will these things make the wife happy? Or will it make the home a sad, sad place? So keeping those things in mind as we're going forward, that we want to anchor in that love and anchor in that future. And that kind of brings me to what you're watching on, uh, when you are watching things in the world. And I love entertainment. I'm a TV person. I've always loved TV. I talk about anime all the time. I was one of the shows I watched like a couple years ago when it came out was Us, which was, like the murder one. And I was so jumpy for that for about 2 weeks. And that was a great movie. Like I enjoyed the movie, but I couldn't figure out why I was like looking at things and worried about things because people were just getting murdered in that movie for no reason, left and right. So, just keeping in mind that those things, it is sometimes just to have fun. Like sometimes, yeah, it's just fun to have a good song on that's talking about like, something crazy about breaking up a boyfriend and slicing up his car. Listeners, it's fun to like listen to that. But remembering that those things are affecting the world. And I know it seems silly. I used to have a friend that was like, that is just so silly. That doesn't make any difference. And I was like, no, like the psychology is clear. Like people watch examples on TV and then they think that they can do those things. So remembering that we have to control what we're watching. I know when I watch like Fast and the Furious, I drive so bad. for about 2 weeks. It's bad. I love those movies too. They're so fun. But oh man, especially when I have my Miata, man, I would really, really, really enjoy the Miata. So just keeping those things in mind that we're really wanting to train ourselves. You still want to have fun in this life and in 3D, but you're wanting to train ourselves. One of the best ways to train yourself is on your media. Your media is one of your five friends that, they talk about they're doing the most influence on you. Your media is definitely one of those five friends. So making sure that that media is a friend that's giving you good advice, that's helping you do better in the world. It's still fun. It's still fun. I love South Park. So obviously I like fun entertainment. Um, with that, also one of the other reasons I wanted to, and this was almost what this episode was about, was aliens. I've loved aliens since I was a kid. I am a little not I'm so excited for Aliens Earth, but man, I do not want those aliens on Earth. Those are the aliens of my childhood, like fear. If I thought of a monster that was chasing me, it was an alien. It was burrowing under the ground to grab me, or it was coming through the vents to grab me. So man, I do not like Alien Earth. I'm like, oh no. But just remembering that though, we as humans have a lot of fear tendencies, and just remember that we don't need to project that onto the aliens that are coming. We need to just wait and let them show us what they are, and then we'll see. So, if you haven't heard, there is an interstellar object. It arrived in January, I believe. And I remember when it arrived, they were kind of interested in it. And its pathway has been a little bit more the tallest Invader Zim than just some meteor coming through. Their path is kind of visiting several planets. So we will see. The last thing they said recently was that they're going to be very tall African American looking people, which isn't that the Egyptians and Anunnaki on the wall? I'm pretty sure the next episode is on aliens and mermaids and cryptics and how like that intertwines with spirituality. I'm pretty sure that's the next show. But I didn't want to do that for this show. So remember the alien talk, we don't, I'm not really seeing a lot of fear. I'm seeing a lot of people like posting Futurama with the aliens coming out of the spaceship when the Harlem Globetrotters come to Earth and like challenge Earth to a basketball game. That's what I'm seeing on TikTok. So I don't see there's a lot of fear. But just remembering not to let them make you fearful. That we'll see when they get here. Like they're coming, and we have a date, and we're watching them. I've always told people that we will know when the aliens come. Like the spaceships and stuff, and I've seen cool things, and I do think that we have visitors, but I'm like, when they come, we're gonna see it. They're gonna be big ships, and it's gonna be, hopefully, not any of the movies that instantly come to mind. Hopefully not any of those. Hopefully a much more peaceful version. And that's where the cupids come in, and us making sure that we're manifesting that this is, not the tallest. If you don't know what the tallest is, I just watched Zim last night and I love Zim, and I was like, oh man, I love this so much. One of the other reasons I wanted to really do this show was about the modern world thing, which I do see a lot on TikTok. The modern world doesn't excite me. I like trees. And then there's an artist, and I'm sure she's great, but she was singing, all of human knowledge has made us stupid. And I was like, oh no! No, without human knowledge, babies used to die in the winter time. Just winter time. And without human knowledge, you would not like the woods. You have like a flashlight and waterproof clothes and like shoes on. So the understanding again of the balance that we want to intertwine those worlds, and that will be what will be truly wonderful when we're using the medication and the sunlight, when we're using, all of those things together, the human mind and the computers. That's when things will be truly wonderful for us. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and take a break. Oh, wait, I didn't want to also leave you guys with one last thing. Uncle Iroh, like here's my knowledge from cartoons, as he always says, we are one people and we live as if divided. And that was also one of the biggest things that I really wanted to come across for adults, so that they realize that we are one people. And this is just an exciting opportunity for us to awaken and move towards the next steps. With that, Love and Lightning is going to take a little break on Transformation Talk Radio. We'll be right back.
Love you
These are my meditation songs. I've always really loved music. I'm sure somewhere there's like a tape recording of me and my like cousins doing a girl band at like 7, 6, and 5. Who knows? But I've always really loved music. But modern music with a lot of the killing of exes and being hungover and going out partying all night and being heartbroken and just, anxiety. I just really wanted to like sing about things that again, we talked about the words and how that influences our water within, right? So, thinking about music's vibrations and how much that would be affecting us, I just really started gravitating towards having my own music. And then once AI came out, I definitely started using AI music. So this is one of my songs. You can listen to these on loveandlightning.com. You can also watch actual like kind of music videos of me on trips and stuff like that at Love A Lightning, the YouTube channel I have. Last week we had the homework of the Lego movie, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really love the Lego movie. It's just one of those again, those really great movies about awakening, family, being true to yourself, being in a cult, not questioning the cult, was what we brought. Why I had that one because the Lego movie is kind of a cultish setup from the beginning. Even the first song, I sing it differently because again, I changed lyrics. But the whole point of the song is that you're only happy when we're happy. So just keeping that in mind, that was this really a great movie about cults. Lego Batman's pretty cute too. I love Robin and how he just wants to be family, but the Lego movie I just thought was it's just a better message movie as far as what we were doing with the cult. So if you haven't seen Lego Batman, that was pretty cute too. I always think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make myself start doing push-ups every time I say but the cartoon characters are I feel like you gain a lot of knowledge from cartoons. I feel like people who do cartoons are constantly trying to, make sure that children and teenagers and those that watch it are awakening. South Park for me is one of those things where I do talk about that a lot. I think that is an awakening show for boys. I think they write it trying to bring subjects to mind for boys. How they bring them to mind, is by slapstick boy comedy. Just like I used to love Tosh Point oh so much. So just those are things where you just have to understand like different groups. So one of the movies that I know a lot of people love is Frozen. I have not been a fan of Frozen. I've seen both of them and they're fine. They're okay. Look, people are probably ready to crucify me. The music is great, but the storyline had a lot of plot holes for me. But the understanding that things aren't always made for us, right? The South Park is made for boys and I just happen to enjoy it as well. Whereas Frozen was made for little girls and I was as a woman just thought I thought it had too many plot holes. As a writer, I feel like it had too many plot holes. My sister was like, it wasn't for you. And I'm like, I understand that. But even though things aren't for us, doesn't mean that they won't be able to impart knowledge on us, especially if that thing is being, banned or trying to be taken away. So recently I heard there's a little bit of a talk of an anime ban, which will make me tell you that you should be watching anime. Go with recommendations though, because anime, there's a lot of stuff in anime, like everything from kids stuff to adult stuff. So you do want to like have recommendations and just don't grab something off the shelf. But the anime ban I've heard about is because of like One Piece, which is a great, fantastic series about fighting for equality and for freedom for the people. So that series is a series where some countries have banned it. So just thinking about that, and that means that's one of the ways that you can see that a show is usually bringing apart some knowledge. Because if it's bringing apart knowledge that's bad or not good, we'll watch it and go, oh, that wasn't good. But the fear of giving people knowledge is what should always just make you wonder and be a little bit more curious. With that, the homework for this week is Kubo of the Strings. That I think is a little known series, and maybe some people on here will actually have seen it. It's stop motion. It was really, really pretty. Hey, Nat, can you play the trailer for Kubo of the Strings?
If you must blink, do it now. Pay careful attention to everything you see, no matter how unusual it may seem. If you look away, even for an instant, then our hero will surely perish. It is time to follow my own path. My name is Kubo. This is my story.
Your magic is growing stronger, but when we grow stronger, the world grows more dangerous.
You've got my attention. I promise I won't even blink. I actually don't think I even can blink. Do I have eyelids?
It's really, really wonderful. The ending is something it's the reason why I'm really recommending the show. It goes to one of my sayings that I really am trying to get people to, kind of put out to the collective, which is that without love, justice just becomes revenge, and it puts us in this endless cycle that we're in. And without love, correction just becomes corruption. It becomes something where, the person is feeling shunned and unable to come back to the light. That's one of the things that when I look at talks about spiritualism, it's that they're not able to come back to the light. So making sure that you're anchoring in the light, that you're bringing forth the light so that those that can be redeemed are able to be redeemed and come back to the light, especially in this time when a lot of people are awakening and coming free from a cult, which they really thought they were doing the right thing. Some of them were coming there with good faith. So remembering that we want to be the anchor of love and light. And even if they weren't coming in with good faith, how great it is to be the anchor of love and light and be like, it's okay. Just come back to us. We're so happy to have you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Love and Light today. Remember, the Love and Light is Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific at the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. I'm pretty sure, like I said, we're going to do aliens and cryptics for the next one. Did you know that there were mermaid stories here in the Pacific Northwest in the Puget Sound? So we'll talk about that and a lot more and how that all relates to spirituality. With that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Know that you are exactly where you're meant to be. And with that, love and lightning, I say have a great weekend, and we're out. Thank you for listening to Love and Lightning with Nicole. Catch us every second and fourth Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. If today lit something inside you, subscribe, share, or like, and spread the spark. Ready to be inspired? Take next steps? Check us out at loveandlightning.com. Check out my books, music, upcoming events, and let's stay connected on my social media. You can find me at Bad Vegan Nikki or lovealightning.com. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.